Hey there, I'm Jen Mueller, founder of Talk Sporty to Me, influential conversationalist and sports broadcaster, with a few tips on how to get people to talk to you, which is actually a really big deal because your future career opportunities depend on it. Becoming a good conversationalist makes it easier for people to talk to you. And quite honestly, it makes them want to talk to you. So here's a few ways that you can get that process going. I would start with meeting them where they are. In other words, talk about something that they are already talking about. As long as they're not talking about money, religion, politics, or sex. I do not care if you think you share the same viewpoints as one of your coworkers. Don't go there. Do not start that conversation. Do not tiptoe around any answers because it's just not worth it. There are too many things that could go wrong in that conversation. And ultimately, the payoff and the upside is minimal because you've spent the entire time trying to tiptoe around things instead of actually building a relationship and making it easier to talk to you. No, instead, I would try sports because more than half of all Americans are sports fans, and it's a safe subject. It's one that colleagues are bound to be talking about. And I just time out right here. If you think that because you're not a hardcore sports fan, this makes you a fake or it makes you disingenuous or, it's not being true to your authentic self, please. Look, there are things that I do on a daily basis as part of my job that my authentic self really doesn't like to do. But you know what my authentic self likes? Getting a paycheck, being employed. You have conversations all the time that are not your favorite to have. So why would you draw the line at sports? Because here's what sports does that no other conversation you have can do. It gets you in the door. It is a go-to conversation topic for millions of Americans and probably a lot of folks sitting in your office. Now, if sports isn't your thing and you need some help, just go to the website, talksportytome.com, and sign up to get the weekly conversations delivered to you. I've got you covered. But here's the bigger picture. Look, people tend to think that if they're not a hardcore, passionate sports fan, that they shouldn't have to or shouldn't, period, talk about sports. Look, it's not your job to know everything there is to know about sports. What it is your job to do is to make sure that people get to know you, take an interest in you. And one of the ways you do that is by becoming a good conversationalist. Learning how to talk sports does that because of its reach. And look, all of these conversations that you have are about building relationships, trust, rapport, making yourself more visible, which will ultimately make you more influential, which will lead to, ta-da, the career opportunities that you really want. So put your authentic self beside, stop thinking that you're just disingenuous, and start having these conversations. Because here's what else happens when you have that conversation. Once you're already in the middle of something, it gives you the opportunity to tell your colleagues and coworkers what it is that you would like to talk about. I am fairly certain that at some point, it's happened to me, so I'm pretty sure it's happened to you. You have given your colleagues a whole lot more credit than they deserve. And you have thought that they can read your mind. And it's really irritated you when they haven't asked you about your weekend plans or that cool hobby that you've taken up. And here's what I would ask back to you. Have you told them any of this? Or do you just think that your colleagues can read your mind and they know exactly what you would like to talk about? You gotta make it easy on people, folks. And if you're already involved in a conversation, it's a whole lot easier for them to ask you a question that leads you to talk about your passion, your hobby, that cool hike that you mapped out, the trip that you're planning, the wine that you drank. I don't care what it is, but if you don't join the conversation in the first place, nobody's gonna wanna talk to you. And this is a problem in business because if nobody's coming to talk to you about small talk, guess what else they're not coming to talk to you about? The next coolest career opportunity, the next job advancement, the next thing you have to do to be in line for a promotion. So, with that, I'm just going to let you think on that for a minute, and I'm going to let you go to the website, talksportytome.com. Look at the free resources, sign up for the emails that I send out on a regular basis, check out the blog. Look, I know you might not think conversations are important in your job, at least not as important as they are in my job, but they are. And if you're not engaging in them, you are holding yourself back. Nobody else, that's on you. So why don't you do something about it, and let's get talking.